And a really quick thank you to those who wished me a happy birthday. It was back on March 24th. And those who were on Facebook, Instagram, or even a little bit on TikTok said happy birthday. I appreciate you. Jumping to 51 years old is not, you just never realize. However, the gist of this video is not necessarily to jump to all over about what I did for my birthday, but it is a little bit of a reach out to us in Gen X that there is hope. That when we used to have our days going out all the time, whether it was going out to friends' places, going out to bars, going out to clubs, we still believe to this day, we did not need social media. We had the greatest time. We had the greatest adventure movie that people would ever have, as we did back in the late 80s, early 90s, 2000s. We had the best adventure. And recently there was a small company called Beyond 30 that started putting out a lot of different places for Gen X over 30 to go out to clubs and enjoy the club life like we remembered. And that is exactly what I did during my birthday weekend. And it brought me back to wanting to do another version of club life, because it is a reach out to the Gen X community that there is hope. They bring this stuff now out a ton, and it's starting to come around, and it's starting to become a trend. There's a thing called the subscribe button. Hit that if you want to be somewhat alerted for anything new and recent or anything like that. But it is a Club Life Volume 7, and it's going to bring up a very possible opportunity for Gen Xers. Hear me out when I say there is hope. Run it. Once again, as always, it is great to have you with us one more time. There is that thing, subscribe button. Hit that if you want to be alerted for anything new that comes across, whether it is the sports takes, the hockey talk, the hockey jersey content, the food reviews, whether we're on Facebook, Instagram, and maybe a tad on TikTok. I do not do politics on this channel. There's no reason for me, but if we want to be one of those people that want to get on me and be like, well, you say you're variety, why don't you talk politics? Well, first of all, I don't want to get into that crap. Nobody does. And two, if you actually are one person that wants to bring that up, you have the mindset of a desk lamp. So let's get right into the gist of this video. As always, folks, Gen Xers, I speak to everybody when I say there is hope. If you are still one of those people that went out every other weekend during the early 90s, any part of the 90s actually, the early parts of the 2000s, we always had the best times. Now, we know Gen X is not going to necessarily beat the great times of the golden age of the 50s, 60s, and even the 70s when they started their little runs with the oldies area, and then the 70s with the disco era and their funkadelic rock and roll and everything like that. But everything evolves and everything takes turns. And Gen X still has opportunities, regardless of the fact that as of this moment, Gen Z and the late millennials, and now a little bit of Gen Alpha, is going to take the world and everything we used to have, and now they are owning it. And as far as everything, as far as nightlife, medical areas, political forms, it's going to happen. We're going to be done for. It is. But until then, as I say, I'll be saying this a lot in this video, there is hope. So I have said, and I have done 6 videos of the club life, basically bringing back all the memories that we had way back in the day of going out on the weekends, on Friday, Saturday nights, when you work a 9 to 5, a 12 to close, or whatever you did Monday through Friday. Or even if you worked a Saturday and you changed at work and you went right to the bar, you went to the club, and you had your second eye, you had your alter ego, and you did your thing, being a clubber, being a dancer, or just going out and being the kingpin, or being the social person, being the icon, being somebody that had that charisma, and you had a lot of people around you, and you stood in one place and you just became the most popular person there. Now, I bring up this because recently during my birthday weekend, me and actually the editor, and basically pretty much had the epiphany of pretty much doing a recent thing that popped up, and it is called Beyond 30. Beyond 30 is in fact a pretty much not a subdirectory, but it is its own company. And there's a couple others that I will talk to you about in just a second. It is basically a traveling program that goes all over America, and probably mostly just small areas, but it goes to local clubs that is specifically to target the Gen X population, or at least the elder millennials. When I looked at the ticket form, it has said 30 and over. And quite honestly, it was something out of almost like you'd have to buy a ticket for an 80s or a 90s prom. And because you'd have to get the tickets online or whatever. So I took that into fruition because it happened to be in the weekend after my birthday. And so me and the editor actually just wanted to just check this out and test it out. So you went online and you found the tickets, and there were multiple times of group tickets, and then there was general admission, which was hanging around between the area of 20 or 25 bucks. So when we go into this place, it basically, let's just say, it was just like going to a regular club, but you ran into people that we're not saying the older people showed up. Let's just put it this way. In this particular fashion, your memories came back. The floor was empty, and then slowly but surely, as the time frame for these is 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. or to whenever it was done for, because the process and the mindset for these programs are leave at 9, be home by 10, because us at Gen X, how many times do we ever stay out past midnight unless you're a night owl or unless you work a graveyard shift? So this is one of the most ingenious ideas, or genius whatever ideas that was put together. And so we tested this out, and pretty much, I don't care what type of gender you were or what type of music person you were. If you were a clubber back in the day, this was absolute gold. It was absolutely golden. The people remember the songs, and they filled the floor. Doesn't matter how the DJ was, and I knew the DJ personally. His name is Alex Nepa. He goes by Kid AV. Go look him up. He's a hit in the Northeast. But he did and mixed 300 songs estimated in a span of 5 hours. The only time people left the floor was to get a drink. Now, for this night, I don't drink. I hardly ever do. But we hardly ever left the floor. And I ripped a pair of pants on my pocket because we did a lot of stuff on the floor, and there was generally a lot of space. I never talked a lot about spacing because you have to have the right mindset to do whether you wanted to open the floor up for a break-in battle, whether you want to do a dance battle, whether it's funk, steps, routines. People will want to see that. Then there are also drunken stupors that will ruin that for you in a heartbeat. There will also be groups of girlies that will just take over the circle because they think they're entitled in their 7-inch heels. It was a fun time, and it brought back memories of atmosphere. Every genre you could think of, from 80s, 90s, 2000s. We're talking club hits. We're talking mixed, and we're talking everything possible of every song you could possibly. Heck, they mixed "Don't Stop Believing" in a 2000 club beat. They did they did "Sweet Child of Mine" in a hip hop beat or whatever like that, or a bounce beat, a club beat. But 300 songs mixed. It was only like a minute for each one, and I ran and met a lot of fun people. Probably won't see them very often for the rest of my life, but there probably may have been in the small club called the Basement in State College at Penn State. Probably was it may have cracked the fire code because it was 30 and over, maybe a little bit because they said you can go if you're 25 and over, but you had somebody 30 or over accompany you, because that was the age set, and it was an absolute blast. And I am hoping. And you may have to just look this up either on Google, look it up on Facebook. It's called Beyond 30. These things were absolute. The event I went, it's in Penn State, was amazing. And it also travels. They go to all different places all over the U.S. in small clubs, or it may be in bigger clubs. And I want the Gen X generation who went out dancing and breaking, or just going out and having a good time, to check this out, because there is hope for us to even get a night out. go out in the afternoon at 4, you leave at 9, you get home by 10, 9:30, 10, and you just bring back memories and you talk about the old school memories with your friends. That's the happiness for Gen X, because remember, we didn't need social media back then. And I guarantee you, while we were dancing all night with all the people we know there, not one drunken stupor messed up anybody's night. And there were no arrests, no fights, nothing. All about the fun, all about the aura of what we used to have back in the day. I would look up Beyond 30. And there is another company called Bed by 10 p.m. Bed by 10 p.m. that has that also tours. It was actually a company built in London, and they tour all over London. But they have a U.S. group that tours all over. It's just like a concert tour, and they tour all over the U.S. I mean, they're going to Philly, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and they'll go all over. I have a friend of mine that said they saw one in Jacksonville, Florida. Guys, look this stuff up. If you are a Gen Xer and you want to have these memories and have this positivity back for the sake of Gen X, and knowing that we still have time left, even though Gen Z is running away with this lifetime, with this time frame that we have, we still have the best times we could ever ask for. I think we even had a young bouncer who may have been 21 literally tell us to our face and said, I wish I knew what it was like back then. If this was what it was, then I feel bad for anybody who doesn't appreciate what we dealt with back then. And that's a compliment from a 21-year-old. So guys, I'm going to leave this as it is. Check that stuff out for us as Gen Xers. I say this in closing as I close the bar. We'll keep doing club lives and Gen Z millennial videos every chance I get. But guys, it is exactly what I keep saying for us. There is hope.